This is the 2026 Audi A6. Did Audi make the right changes? Hey everybody, it's Tom from Vehicle Visionary. I hope you're having a great day. We're at Audi of Shreveport. If you want to know more about this particular model that we're showing you in today's video, check out the link down in the description of the video. For 2026, we're definitely going to have some changes to talk about. We're going to have better body lines, better aerodynamics. If you go with all-wheel drive with the rear steering, you're going to have air suspension. And here on the front end, we're going to have to get down a little bit to show this to you, but we're going to have our full LED lighting, and those lights are nicely animated. I hope that's showing up on the screen as nicely as it does in person. So you've got your LED headlights, LED daytime running lights, and then the nice wide grille here. It gives it that nice low profile that it should have. Gonna have that Audi badging right here. Also, our front camera will be right here, our upper and our lower grille areas. And right over here, we're gonna have the large active air curtain. So that air is gonna come right here. You can see the opening right back here. That's gonna allow for improvement of your aerodynamics. You're also gonna have your headlight washers. That's what this area is right here. It's gonna pop out and wash the headlights for you as you need. Now, this will be all-wheel drive, Quattro all-wheel drive. In this particular case, we're gonna have our 20-inch wheels, and you can see that this is also gonna be the S-Line. You can see the S-Line logo right there, so the S-Line package is going to be here. And with our side view mirrors, quite a few interesting things to talk about here. So when I unlock the vehicle, you can see they're power folding. You're also going to have your turn signal indicators built in right here. They're heated, they're power adjustable, and you will have your blind spot monitoring too. Here is your remote with lock, unlock. You can open and close your power trunk back there. There's also going to be a panic button on the rear. Now, to get in, you don't actually lift up on a door handle. You will come right here and just push the pad on the inside of the door handle area right there, front and rear. We're going to have our large panoramic sunroof up here. However, there are some really interesting things to talk about with that. It does not tilt or slide open, and there's no power shade. However, there is a very neat feature that allows you to keep too much sunlight from coming in through the interior. Nice lines as we work our way back here. You can see the shark fin antenna up there. And just as we saw with the front lights, we're going to also have LED lighting back here that is going to be animated, as you can see. What's going on there? Not as much going on with the animation here as we did with the front lights, but I do like what we have with the lights coming through as they do into this area. LED tail lights right here. There's your Quattro badging, so you know that you have all-wheel drive. And something else that seems to be going by the wayside with a lot of automakers, and people tell me they don't like it, is the fact that here you have the active exhaust outlets, your tailpipes essentially. Instead of just having that clean look back here with the bumper, which a lot of people tell me they don't like. What about the design elements here? I like what Audi has done, gives it that nice crisp look, and ultimately with this very small, I'd say, rear diffuser back here. Under the hood is the now singular engine offering. Audi simplifying things. This is going to be the 3-liter 6-cylinder. It's the V6 engine. We'll show you what's under the engine cover right here with all that plastic, just so you can see. You're looking at 362 horsepower and 406 pound-feet of torque, mated to a 7-speed automatic transmission. And 0 to 60 comes in about 4.5 seconds. Top speed is a governed 130 miles per hour. How about your MPGs? 20 city, 29 highway, 23 combined, and 4.3 gallons of gas per every 100 miles driven. How about your gas tank details? First of all, you do not have capless fuel fill, you have a gas cap. Here, something seems to be a little more popular with some potential owners. It's 19.3 gallons in capacity, and on a full tank of gas in the city, you should be able to drive about 386 miles, 560 miles out on the highway, and combined 444 miles. Keep in mind, those are not guaranteed numbers. You may be above those numbers, you may be below those numbers. A lot of different variables factor in. And here is our cargo area. I'm going to hit the button on the remote. There's also a button right there that you can see, a button on the interior as well that allows you to gain access to your 13.5 cubic feet up to as much as 17.4 when you lower those seat backs down, as you can see have been done. The release for that is on the seats themselves. And here in the interior, we're going to have a 12-volt power outlet. Also right here underneath. One thing that is missing here is a spare tire. Now you have the tools to change the tire, but no actual spare tire. Let's talk about the back seat area and what your passengers are going to find. First of all, here's our panoramic sunroof. You'll notice that you can't see through it right now. I'm going to show you how that works in just a little bit, but I like that because it does a really good job of keeping all that bright heat from the sun coming in here when you don't want it to, and there's a few different ways you can configure that. Plenty of room back here. Now that's going to depend on where the front seats are set. As far as the headroom, I'm 5'10". Yeah, if you're 6 feet tall, you might want to sit in the front seat, but that's the situation. We're going to have the rear seat pockets right here. That's not all the storage you have, because on the door panel over there, we're going to have a good size door bin. Also the armrest that offers plenty of room. This interior color really pops. And let's talk a little bit about what your passengers will find as far as technology goes. First of all, we're going to have a couple of USB ports right here. Here are our air conditioning vents and the command center. You have dual zone climate control here in the rear. You can adjust fan speed, temperature on both sides. Also heated seats, 3 stages on the outboard seats. That way you know what is here. And those aren't the only air conditioning vents we have here. There's also air conditioning vents built into the door pillars right here. So a total of 4 air conditioning vents for your second row passengers. Now, let's take a look here. If you've watched me before, you know what I'm about to say. I really like this design. Good job, Audi. Why? Because with these vertical cup holders right here, as opposed to being parallel like they often are, if you put a cup in one or both holders, guess what? Your passengers can still use this as an armrest. And one more little trick right here. There's a release right up here. You need to use this area as a pass-through. You can do that. And then whatever needs to stick through here can do that with the available space, and your passengers will still have plenty of room. And if needed, got the privacy shades right here. They are manual. You can put them in place just like that. They just go right in there, but they are here, so it's worth mentioning. I'm going to go ahead and show you the upper console. It's not a lot to talk about here. You can turn the lights on and off. You can pretty much see what's here, but I want to talk about this button. This is how we take care of the sunroof right here. Now, if you want everything to shine through with the light, there you go. You can actually do this. We can actually stop it if we want to, and then keep going and stop it again, or we can push on it, and we have a couple of different options where that is concerned. So you can actually have that transparency where the light comes through, or we can do this depending on how we want to do. You can go from the front to the rear, or from the rear to the front. Kind of a neat little effect. How about your sticker price? $72,390. Let's see what else you get for that price. We'll start over here on the passenger side just to show you what's here, because, well, it's part of what you pay for. There's the glove box, and then we have the passenger side door panel, a little bit larger than what we saw with the rear doors, and you're going to have the large door bin down there. Now let's come over here to the driver's side. I'm going to show you what's going on here. Quite a bit to talk about here. This is nothing new for Audi in and of itself, but you've got all of your controls right here, including your seat settings. You can lock and unlock your doors. You can do all sorts of different things as far as figuring or controlling which mirror you are controlling. And we can also push that button right there, and the mirrors will fold in if you want to do that with the button instead of just locking and unlocking the vehicle. When you get in and out, you can control your windows there, all that stuff. You can see what all is there. We also have the control right here for our cruise control, and then right behind that, we can adjust our tilt and telescopically adjustable steering wheel. And speaking of the steering wheel, here are your steering wheel mounted controls. Everything for your radio right here. We're going to have the heated steering wheel if you want to turn that on or off. And then over here, we can actually control what is on either side. So we've got, I'm going to do this like this so you can see it. The left side and the right side correspond with the controls right here. Left side, right side. You can hit view right there. And you can actually go through a few different things depending on what you want to know and what you want to see. So you can make a few adjustments here as far as that goes. And then we're going to have our control right here for our windshield wipers. And then you also have shifter paddles on the back of the steering wheel for the 7-speed automatic transmission. And here is the lever for your turn signal indicators if you know how to use those. Now, we've got our virtual cockpit here. Let's talk about the center screen, the nice wide screen that goes all the way across. It does have a little curvature to it, so it's angled towards the driver. And you can already see, one of those common questions I received, does it have built-in navigation? Yes, it does. You can wirelessly pair your smartphone because you have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, as you can see. Again, you can bring navigation up by simply touching the screen right there. Then we can go back to this area, depending on what we want to do. There's a lot going on here. We're not going to talk about everything, but you've got Sirius XM. You can listen to the radio. Whatever you need to do, it's all going to be here. We can go in here into vehicle, and if we touch right there, you can see that you can adjust your head-up display. If you want to take advantage of that, if you need to rotate that, change the height, whatever you need to do, change the brightness, all of that is going to be there. And you can go in here and make changes to a few different things. If you want to change the brightness of the driver's display, this is where you're going to do that. You can see what's going on, and we'll go back here to the screen we were previously on. Now, you're going to have your settings here. Go ahead and touch that right there. Now, there's a lot going on here, but it's not going to be difficult to find what you need to. You'll just go in here, find whatever you need. If you want to adjust the sound for the radio, here's where you're going to do that with your treble, bass, and subwoofer, just to show you a few of the nice little features that are here. Now, you'll notice you only have controls for your air conditioning in the screen. You do have your heated and ventilated seats, heated right here, 3 stages. And then we also have our 3 stages of ventilated seats for the driver and the passenger. But here's the good news. You don't have to worry about reaching up here while you're driving, because you can say, hey Audi, adjust the temperature to 68 degrees.
I am setting the temperature to 68 degrees Fahrenheit.
And it's that simple. You can also do this. Hey Audi, what can I ask you?
Maybe you can find helpful voice commands here. Try them out.
Just gives you a little bit of an idea of what you can do. And you also have general right here, depending on what you need to know about. So there's a lot of neat little features here that your Audi A6 is going to have. Now, I'm going to show you right down here what I'm going to do before we go back to the screen. I'm going to push the button right here. And here's what happens. On the screen, when I push that button, our cameras come up, and there are cameras all over the place here. Depending on what you want to see, you can change that if you want to. We can get rid of that. We can also come right here and we can look. That's our front camera. There's our rear camera. The one thing I do wish was different is that every time I want to change my view, I have to touch right here first. I wish all of that would just stay on the screen the whole time so that I could easily choose and look around the vehicle, whatever I need to do with that. And then that would not be a problem. Obviously, when you go into reverse, you're also going to have that come up right there, depending on what you need to see and where you need to see. There's your rear view, just to show you a little bit of what's going on here. Now, let's come down here. I'll show you a little bit of what's going on. We've got our USB ports right there. We're going to have a 12-volt power outlet right here, and the wireless charging pad is right down here. Over here is the button to start and stop the engine, and we're about to go back to the screen one more time. What are your driving modes? Let's take a look at that. So you've got 3 to choose from. You have individual, you have dynamic, and then you have comfort and the accompanying graphics that go with that. We'll come back down here. There is the button to turn the auto stop start feature off or on if you like to use that. There's the button for your hazard lights and traction control right there. You can turn that on and off as well. Over here, we've got the control for the radio, turning that on and off and adjusting the volume. And then we're going to have our shifter right here. So we push that forward to go into reverse. You can bump it back one time to go into neutral if you need to do that. And then drive is all the way back. There is park. Just push that button, you're in park. We're going to also have our cup holders right there. And then here is our center console lid. So here's something interesting about that. I can raise that all the way up and leave it like that. You can use that as an armrest. If you need it to be a little bit higher, then you can push the button and move that down 1 notch and then 1 more. And those are your settings where that is concerned. And there's a little bit of space within the center console for storage. and your light right here. All right, here we go on the test drive. Now, if you're trying to decide between the A5 and the A6, well, here's a little something to consider where that is concerned. The A6 is going to have more horsepower than the A5 based on the fact that you've got this 6-cylinder motor compared to the 2-liter 4-cylinder in the A5. Just one of those things to consider. I know a lot of you are looking for a little more horsepower. And for a sedan like this, it actually will get up and run quite nicely. As I mentioned earlier in the video, a very respectable 4.5 seconds of 0 to 60 potential. But I don't think most people are too worried about that. They just want to be able to get up to highway speeds and get around slower moving traffic and just accelerate when needed. You're definitely going to be able to do that here. Now, in comfort mode, obviously, you're going to have a very comfortable ride. If you want to change things a little bit, you've got your other driving modes here. You've got dynamic and individual, so you can set things up however you want to where that is concerned. And the seats themselves are very comfortable, both here in the front seat and in the rear. The technology, I don't think, is difficult to learn and use, even though you do have a few different menus to go through, little things to deal with, but not too bad. It's not overly complicated, at least not in my personal opinion. The gas pedal and the brake pedal are nice and responsive. I don't feel like either is difficult to use. You don't have a aggressive brake pedal, although it does seem to be a little bit on the soft side, but that doesn't mean that it's difficult to use, or should I say the brakes are spongy. Just that pedal feels a little bit soft for me. When I apply a little more pressure, the vehicle obviously stops with no problem. But you have to keep in mind, when I give you that kind of feedback on these test drives, I'm also used to driving a 3/4 ton truck most days. That's my typical daily driver. And so I'm filtering my experience here in the A6 through that more common experience, we'll say, with my truck, because I'm used to something that weighs a lot more. So the brakes are going to be a little different, and the way the brake pedal feels is a little different. That's why it's so important that you come in and test drive these vehicles for yourself. Now, I'm going to clean the windshield off a little bit for us right there. The head-up display is nice and bright. I can see that on the windshield right now nicely. I know you can't see that because of your position, but it is nice and bright. And as I showed you earlier in the video, you can adjust that however you need to. Overall, a very enjoyable vehicle to drive, great for the long road trips or just cruising around town as you need to. And you got a little bit of power for when you need to get up and go or just go out for that spirited drive. And there it is, the 2026 Audi A6. Tell me what you think. Did Audi make the right changes? I'm always curious to receive your feedback. I would like to say a special thanks to our friends at Audi Shreveport that loaned us this A6 for the day so we could tell you all about it. Don't forget about that link down in the description of the video to the dealership's website if you want to know more. I would like to thank all of you as well for being kind enough to give us the opportunity to give you a vision for your next vehicle. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button. That's very helpful to us. We appreciate your time. Make sure to subscribe and share this video on your timelines on social media so other people can see it. And if you would like to learn about additional vehicles you may wish to consider purchasing, check out the video that's on the screen right now, and we'll see you there.